This is Nona. I posted a little kind of comical repost from another instructor about temple index, and someone whose opinion I genuinely really value said, hey, you might need to kind of clarify that. That might be a little cutting. So here's the deal. Okay, talk about ready positions. A couple things. With me, a high ready is up at a 45-degree angle. It's not like this. It's up at a 45-degree angle with both hands on the gun. I can just drive it right into my presentation. A low ready is just dropping the gun and rotating that hand over. So now I have two hands on the gun. If I'm in a confined space, I've got two hands on the gun and I can control it, and I'm taking away your ability to grab the slide area, which is how you would disarm somebody. Grab the front of the gun. That gives you a mechanical advantage if you're trying to take my gun from me. The pistol was intended to take energy this way, not that way, okay? So if I've got two hands on the gun, you have to reach over my hand, and then all I'll do is roll over, break that grip, and I can strike, and I can engage from down low. There's a lot of stuff you can do on the fighting side, okay? But my high ready is up here, my low ready is down here. I don't do this position Sewell stuff, okay? To me, it's silly because it's basically holding the gun in one hand. It's like gang sign stuff, like that, okay? I've got two hands on the gun. It's actually pointed in the same position, but I have control. Here I don't, okay? So I don't use position Sewell. I just don't use it, okay? If I have to hold the gun down, it's just holding the gun in one hand, and I try and keep it tight. I don't put it in front of my body. I keep it as tight and tucked as I can, still pointed down. But I don't use this as a go-to position, okay? I look at temple index as a pass-through position, and I still don't do it, okay? I have a different variation of it where the gun's up high. The reason I call it a pass-through position is because everything I need to do, I can do from right here, unless someone is so close that I somehow can't clear them with my muzzle at a 45-degree angle. All I'll do, okay, all I do is turn the gun, okay, facing up this way, or I turn the gun with my palm out a little bit in front of me so it's straight up and down. I don't bring it back behind my ear. I bring it right up in front of me where I can see it. If I bring it back behind my ear in what is, I guess, a traditional temple index, I'm blocking, okay, I'm blocking my vision on that side. Obviously, that doesn't matter for me because I don't know one friggin' eye. But if you have binocular vision, you're blocking vision on that side, and you're putting that gun in a position where if you pin the elbow and drive the gun, there's literally no way I can stop you from taking it, and you're going to break my shoulder. You're going to rip my shoulder out of the socket and probably break it, okay? So I don't like going here for that reason. I don't run with my hand, with one hand up here. I run with my hands in front of me. So if I'm moving, there's no reason for me to put the gun up here when all I'm doing is flagging, the moon. All right, so there's no real reason. It impedes my natural range of motion and my natural ability, okay? So if I have to, I call it a pass-through position, not a go-to position. My go-to position for high ready is up with both hands on the gun with if you take your firing grip or your non-firing grip, just relax it and roll the gun back in, that's where you are, okay? And it's the same when I drop the gun down. When I need to use the gun, I just drive it. I start to come up, drive the gun out, or from here, I start to come down and drive the gun out. That's all. It's that simple. And so all I'm doing is using the same grip I have, but I'm moving the gun around in that grip, okay? If I have to have the gun up, I'll grab it with both hands up high. If I have to pass through, meaning I have to go past someone and this doesn't cut it, then I'll just bring the gun up right next to me, okay? And move. I won't bring it behind me because I'm exceeding the range of motion for power and control with my shoulder. Here, I still can control it. Okay, here you can take it from me, and in the process, you can drive my shoulder backwards, okay, grab my gun backwards and rip my shoulder out of the socket, all right? All this moving around in confined spaces was done full contact with simunitions when I was in the Air Marshal program. We started working with sim guns and messing with that. And there was no temple index name. Some people just did it, okay? And it was a really, really problematic technique when you're actually fighting someone in confined space. Okay, if you're maneuvering and it's the only place you can go, I get it. Okay, I wouldn't go all the way back here. I think that's a bad idea. Everybody peels their own eggs, man. I keep it in tight here. To me, this is about as far as I go. And I can control the gun. I can get to the gun quickly if you try and grab it. And I can maneuver around. You'd have to be 30 feet tall, shoulder to shoulder with me. Okay, I don't need to go back here. If I'm running, it's generally in the same position. If I'm really confined, again, I just bring it a little tighter and I move past you and then I put my hands back on the gun. All right? But it's not a go-to position. It's a pass-through position, okay? Hopefully everybody understands that. And that's the point I'm making. With this pistol, I want to have two hands on the gun at all time. I want to have situational awareness, okay? And I want to be able to rapidly engage, all right? And so if you think about it, stability, mobility, and situational awareness. Those are the three things you need in a fight. Okay, stability of the gun. If I can have two hands on the gun or have the gun close to me, I've got stability. Mobility, I want to be able to move that gun, present that gun, control that gun. And situational awareness, I don't want a gun in a position where it impedes my vision. All right? So if you establish criteria to it, what am I trying to accomplish with a ready position or a pistol position? Okay, I'm trying to control the gun, maintain situational awareness, okay, and be able to rapidly engage. Those are the things I'm trying to do. And that's the reason why I don't go behind my head like this, okay? I've watched somebody almost get their shoulder ripped out of the socket and then watch somebody come right up after that and do the same thing and almost get their shoulder ripped out of the socket. And that's not real bullets, but that's real fighting. That's people fighting each other. So again, understand what you're doing, know what you do, know why you do it, know how it works, the mechanism of success with specificity, and then understand the most likely failure points or mistakes that you can make and remedy techniques or training that will mitigate that. I know that bringing my gun here doesn't do anything that I could do right here, but it does bring me outside of my range of motion. It does impede my vision, and it does allow me to be disarmed and injured. Okay? I know that bringing a gun down here doesn't do anything other than basically have my gun in a position where I'm holding it with one hand and I'm giving up control. If I've got a hand here, I might as well have a hand here. I've got positive control. It also facilitates a rapid presentation because my hand is already in the orientation that I grasp the gun when I do a regular drawn presentation. So all I do is drop the gun down. I'm here. I've got two hands on the gun. I can control it. When I go to drive it into the presentation, all I do is relax my non-firing hand and drive the gun right up into my presentation grip. Just relax it, drive it in. When it's up here, it's the same thing, but coming from the top. Relax, drive the gun into that grip. Okay? If the gun is in front of me here and I'm doing something else, I'm getting someone off of me and I need to engage from that hand, like getting somebody back, I can come right back in. I'm coming from here to my grip as opposed to coming from here to my grip. But all I'm doing is catching my gun and driving it out to the presentation from here. When it's back here, I've got more distance to cover, okay? And it is outside of my normal presentation much more. Okay? This isn't something that I just kind of arrived upon. When I was in the Air Marshal program as an instructor, we went through all of these. How are we going to control a gun in an aircraft? When I was in JSOC, I was a runner. I was in the aisles, running in the aisles, clearing aircraft, which means that there was a sea of hands. I had to have some way to control this gun and not be disarmed, okay? And I didn't do it like this, okay? I did it running through an aisle like this with my hands up so I could fend off someone and then drive that gun into a presentation, okay? I didn't run through like this. I didn't run through like this. I ran through with both hands up high, basically like a fighting stance, but with a gun in one hand. If I needed to, I could drive that gun into a presentation or I could fend someone off and tuck the gun in, okay? But there's reasons behind it. It's not, there's a lot of stuff out there that briefs well. Make sure it's applied in the appropriate location and for the appropriate application, okay? If you want to bring your gun back here, peel your eggs the way you want. I just think it's a bad idea. I don't think it needs to go all the way back here when it can be right here and it does the exact same thing and you can control it easier. And you don't put yourself in as much of a position. You can still grab this gun and pin a shoulder, but here you're already there. This is as far as you can go. I'm already at the limit of my range of motion, which means I have no reaction time. As soon as you pin that arm and drive that gun, I'm finished. You're going to break my shoulder, and then you're going to shoot me to death with my own gun, okay? If that's what you want to do, because I can't protect myself then. You now have broken my dominant side, and you have my gun, okay? So we talk about being in confined spaces, okay? Make sure that control is the paramount thing, okay? I've got to control this gun, all right? And I've got to be able to rapidly engage because now I'm in a confined space. Disarms are far more likely and far more possible. And my speed of engagement has to be rapid. I have to be able to rapidly engage, okay? Think about it. If you want to do your version of Temple Index, you folks out there, I get it. I would highly recommend that you look at it and go, how can we take into account what this guy's saying? Whether or not we take counsel to it or not is really unimportant. I want you to think. I want you to think and go, is this the best way? Because in the end, if it's done wrong, okay, it ends up with disarms and broken shoulders and freaking gunshot wounds. And I'm not the only person that's been around gunshot wounds, so I think a bunch of you out there understand. That's not something that you want that you want to risk, okay? You don't want to have a technique that exposes you to more jeopardy. All right? So make sure you think about it. Make sure you understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how it works. And if there's a better way, don't be dogmatic, okay? Don't have a plastic Jesus on your freaking dashboard, all right? Look at something and go, okay, that's usable. Let's tweak it to make it work better for us. Let's understand it and let's apply it and let's make it work, okay? Let's make it work the way it's going to best suit our men and women that are carrying these guns. And I say men and women carrying these guns, and that means everybody. That means law enforcement, that means military, that means civilians. Okay? Know what you do, know why you do it, know how it works, the mechanism of success, what makes it succeed, okay? So that you can replicate it and refine it. Hope that helped.